Last night was a big night for the NBA as the draft lottery took place, and everybody immediately said it was rigged. The Dallas Mavericks, with a 1.8% chance to win the draft lottery and have the number 1 overall pick, presumably for Cooper Flagg, ended up winning the draft lottery right there on TV. Now, the way Mark Tatum in the NBA decided to do it was certainly interesting. Anytime you have 2 people left for something and there's only going to be 1 winner, especially a number 1 overall pick, we believe that you should probably showcase who's the first overall pick so it can be a celebratory moment, as opposed to, Spurs, you get the number 2, and also that means Dallas gets number 1. Should be a celebratory moment. Obviously, it was for the people in Dallas, especially after how the year has gone. Obviously, Luka gets traded away from the Dallas Mavericks. Here's Nico and the boys back in Dallas. 1.8% chance. We did it. Now, as they were reacting in complete surprise, everybody on the internet said it was no surprise. Everybody said that this was kind of a rigged situation. They made a move for the NBA. Luka to LA was obviously a massive storyline, brought a lot of people back to the NBA as maybe their ratings were kind of dwindling. And in return, the NBA paid them back by giving them the number 1 overall pick. Now, what will they do? Well, that ain't what Ernst & Young, the accounting department, says.
That's right.
They overlooked the entire process. And I don't know how you would rig a lottery with the balls, and we've seen the balls, and they had to pick 4 different balls to be able to get the Mavericks in there and whatever the case is. And people are always going to say something's being worked, especially if they end up not winning. But with the Dallas Mavericks winning, they had the 4th lowest percentages to end up getting the number 1 overall pick in the history of the draft lottery. Now with Kyrie Irving, Anthony Davis, and what does his future look like? We'll talk to his agent, Rich Paul, in about 14 minutes or so to kind of get his thoughts on this all. And then Cooper Flagg with Klay Thompson on that team. Are the Dallas Mavericks all the way back? And was that move post-Luka maybe a great decision? Or are the Dallas Mavericks going to trade that pick? Maybe for Giannis.
Whoa.
The Greek freak maybe comes down to Dallas. Could you imagine Anthony Davis, Giannis, Kyrie Irving, Klay Thompson, Nico running laps, obviously, because he's in better shape than everybody down there in Dallas? Do they immediately become title contenders because of the addition of Giannis? And now that is what the next conversation is going to be for about a month or so. What are the Dallas Mavericks going to do with that number 1 overall pick? But during the LeBron conversation, this is actually what LeBron said to us about understanding the assignment with the NBA lottery.
Listen, man, during the ball drop, during the lottery drop, Cleveland got the number 1 pick. I just don't think that was.
What are you
coincidence!
Don't you think?
Wemby with the Spurs.
Oh my God! Let's keep LeBron home. You know what? Patrick Ewing to the Knicks. Derrick Rose to the Bulls. But I understand the assignment, guys. I had to make sure that, I had to do my part. I didn't want to be a fuck up. I just didn't want to be a fuck up, man. Like I said earlier in the show, no one gets this opportunity, man. It's 0 to none, and I couldn't be a fuck up. So that's what came with it.
Amen. I appreciate that mindset out of LeBron, but him saying that, and obviously the Dallas Mavericks having a 1.8% chance to get the number 1 overall pick has obviously recirculated around the internet. And Kyrie Irving even put 1.8% with double crowd. It's like everybody's reaction around the NBA is like, what are we doing here?
This is real.
What are we doing here? Why are we doing the entire kind of song and dance whenever we kind of understand what's going to... Yeah, Kevin Love's just like, come on, what are we even talking about? Now, I'm not saying players would be on the inside of this information anyways. Players, obviously, we saw what Draymond Green said to the ref the other night. Players are living in the same reality that we are in, and it affects their life a lot more. But Ernst & Young, the accounting services, they oversee it. So I don't think Ernst & Young is necessarily thrilled that people automatically assume that this is a rigged gimmick. But I do know that Mike Greenberg, the impassioned speech that he gave this morning about the lottery and what it does for the sport and what it does for teams that are trying to get the number 1 overall pick and inevitably they don't get it, I did appreciate that. And now he started popping off at the mouth about how the NFL needs to start doing this.
Yep.
Greeny, we love you. You're in multiple Hall of Fames. You're going to end up in more Hall of Fames. The NFL is good. Okay, the NFL, we are A-OK in the NFL, but the NBA and the NHL instituting these lotteries and then having a higher percentage if your team stinks to get the number 1 overall pick. Inevitably in the NBA, the worst team in the NBA the previous season has never gotten the number 1 overall pick. This year, actually, the Utah Jazz had a 14% chance. We talked to Ryan Smith, the owner, and they end up with the 5th overall pick, actually. What's the 5th overall pick in any NBA draft? You're right. Nobody knows because that is kind of how the NBA draft goes in this entire thing. Ryan Smith put out a tweet this morning. I woke up frustrated, went for a run, probably played some hoops, audibly screamed, sun peeked over our mountains, ran into a fellow disappointed Jazz fan, remembered this is Utah. So getting back on the horse with the best fans in the league because it's what we do here. Goal doesn't change. Now, goal is certainly different now. Whatever you were going to get, what you were going to get. The goalposts have certainly changed a little bit. Rejoining us, ladies and gentlemen, the founder of Clutch Sports, Rich Paul.
Yeah, Rich.
Rich, good to see you. Appreciate you jumping back in. It's our fault, not yours, on the technical aspect of it. But there is like an illusion that this is kind of a rigged operation for people. Why would it be for the Dallas Mavericks in your eyes? And why do you think the Dallas Mavericks, why do you think people think the Dallas Mavericks got this? Just because Nico traded away Luka for the good of the NBA? Is that kind of what the conspiracy is?
Yeah, I don't believe any of that. I think, they had the 1.8% chance. It's happened before several times. So, I know what people may think and the conspiracy things, but that couldn't be further from the truth.
Yeah, Cooper Flagg, guaranteed number 1 overall pick is kind of what everybody's saying. How do you view him as an NBA prospect? And what are your thoughts on people saying maybe the Mavs trade this number 1 overall pick to get another megastar?
No, I think there'll be no trade. I think the Mavs take him, and I think it's the right thing for the kid. Look, obviously there's been some teams there that would have loved to have him, but I think when you look at Cooper Flagg, look at where he's at today, his ability to develop next to guys like AD and Lively, and also playing with the Kyrie once he's back, I think it helps him. Oftentimes guys go number 1, and we put so much expectation on these young players, and that's not really realistic. And so this allows him to develop on a real timeline. He gets to play through mistakes without all the pressure being on him to throw the ball and expect him to get 25, 30 points a game. That's not realistic, especially equating to wins. And so I think this would be a great environment for him. Not saying that if he went to Utah, if he went to San Antonio, it wouldn't. And I know you think number 1, you think the guy right away, but it's okay to develop into the guy. Like, there's nothing wrong with developing into the guy. So I think this will be a good fit for him.
Dallas was in the play-in game, which I think is why everybody's so mad. It's like this team was good. They got a lot of great pieces. They were obviously injured for a large portion of the back half of the season post the Luka trade. What could they possibly be, especially with Cooper Flagg coming in? For us, we don't really know the ins and outs of the salary. So, like, a rookie deal is obviously much more feasible than a veteran deal. So whenever you can get a rookie contract into your room, especially at a key position like quarterback or something in the NFL, you want to do that. In the NBA, Cooper Flagg's deal a massive benefit for them in how they can shift the salary cap, or is everybody getting paid a shit ton of money, especially the number 1 overall pick?
Well, it's not just the contract; it's the production from a play perspective as well. So that's why he won't be traded, because trading, you hope to have a player at his level being paid what he's being paid, although that number 1 money is a lot different than the supermax player's money. And so if you can get the production level high and the pay potentially lower than what it normally would be if you had to have a supermax guy come in, that's really helpful to the team and their flexibility moving forward and things of that nature. And so once you start getting to the first apron and the second, it just makes things too difficult. So this is why, to me, as well as just who Hooper could become, I think you keep the pick. I think Dallas will keep the pick, and I think it'll work well for both sides.
Excited to watch Cooper Flagg develop.